alongside my partner Josh Johnson as we get set for North Dakota high school football action as the Shanley Deacons prepare to take on the Jamestown Blue Jays. Well, folks, it's that time of year again. Time to pull in your docks and put away your Crocs because we're back in the press box. That's right, folks. Football is back on Shanley TV as the Deacons get ready to start their season off against the Jamestown Blue Jays. And for more on this game and who the key players will be tonight, here's Josh Johnson.
Hello, folks. What we're going to be looking at is first the Shanley key players. We got Jake Cava as a senior, captain, all-state linebacker, and tight end. The man is a beast on both sides of the ball. Then we got Haley Buckles, a junior, definitely one to be feared. He's a big playmaker. He will get it. And then for Jamestown, we got Tommy Falk, untested, sophomore QB. And then also their main playmaker, Colin Bach. He's a do-it-all guy. He's an athlete, just all around. He will tear you apart.
Absolutely. Jared Kallenbach, that junior, is a name to watch tonight. We'll touch more on him later. For now, we're going to send things down to the PA announcer for the national anthem and prayer. But don't go anywhere, folks. Football is back on Shanley TV.
Every spiritual blessing in the heavens. We thank you for the great blessing of being gathered together here tonight. We ask you to be with us and watch over us, bless us, keep the players free from injury and harm, allow them to play to the best of their ability, reward them for their efforts, and may everything that we think, say, and do here tonight give you great honor, glory, and praise. We pray all this in the name of your Son, Jesus, by the power of your Holy Spirit, you are God forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Shanley football is a family that is not defined by our bloodlines, but by the community with which we belong. It is with great respect that we ask you to stand for a moment of silence as we honor two members of our Deacon family taken too soon. Heidi Schulke, sister of Coach Todd Molden, and Mark Yagi, father of Deacon alum Austin, and current Deacons Trevor and Dylan. Tonight we remember them and we lift their families up in prayer. Please remain standing as we now honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Today's anthem will be sung by Fargo Moorhead's own Front Fenders.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Don't go anywhere, folks. High school football action is next after a brief word from our sponsors.
This broadcast is presented by American Family Insurance, Ken Craft Agency, Bell Bank, Butler Machinery Company, the Fargo Jet Center, First International Bank and Trust, Form Communications, Luther Family Buick GMC, Master Construction, Moore Engineering, Netrix IT, Northern Improvement Company, Off the Wall Advertising, Robert Gibb and Sons, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Shields All Sports in Fargo, and TCI Insurance.
Good evening, folks, and welcome back to North Dakota High School football action. I'm Jed Thomas, of course, joined by Josh Johnson as we're getting ready for the first football game of the year here on Shanley TV. It is, of course, the first game of the year for the Jamestown Blue Jays and the Shanley Deacons. The Blue Jays playing their first season in AA against the Shanley Deacons, who were knocked out of the AA playoffs last year by the Kindred Vikings on their home field. That season, though, is in the rearview mirror now for both teams. It's a new year, a new equal playing field. Everybody is 0-0, and tonight someone's going to come away a winner, someone's going to come away a loser. And Josh, you're here to give us some of the keys as to how that's going to go down and how these teams might win.
You know, that's right, Jed. For Shanley, one of their main keys is going to be attacking the outside. Jamestown has a great group of linebackers, and Shanley really needs to spread the field. And then they also need to contain Hara and Petrick, their best running backs for Jamestown, and then get pressure on the sophomore QB. For Jamestown, they need to get Kallenbach touches, one of their best athletes on the field, pressure Kuhneman, and then just avoid Cava whenever they can.
Absolutely. You mentioned Jake Cava there at the end. He is a scary middle linebacker for the Shanley Deacons. All-state selection last year. The senior topped 100 tackles, and he is back this year and ready to have another monster season. As you said, Jamestown, two great running backs in Har and Petrick, but they're going to definitely want to have some more runs to the outside when you're playing a guy like Jake Cava in the middle.
You know, Jake Cava, he's been getting consistent playing time since freshman year. The man is experienced, and he is ready to finally get that championship for his senior year.
Absolutely. You mentioned that, Josh. This is a Shanley team that has suffered a lot of heartbreak over the last few years. As I said, they were defeated by the Kindred Vikings on their home turf last season. That was after squandering a very large lead they held at halftime. It ended on a Hail Mary pass, just a terrible way to go out for Shanley last year. The season before that, of course, was a state championship loss, and the season before that. This is a Shanley team that has had a lot of success over the last few years. They've been in the title game the last 6 of 8, but they've been unable to actually take home that title since 2012. As we said, though, a new season, a new opportunity, and Jake Cava and those seniors have seen it too many times. They want that title.
You know, and that's the thing. With a team that's experienced as much loss in big games as this Shanley team has, I'm wondering how they're going to respond this season. Because it starts to get up in your head and everything, Jed, and you start to wonder, am I able to play in these big games?
No question. Doubt is something any athlete deals with, and these guys, no exception, have had a lot of situations that would cause them to have some doubt in their minds. It'll be interesting to see how they respond this year coming off another tough loss in the playoffs. Jamestown kind of flips the script here. They're coming off a season in AAA where they finished 1-8, a really tough going for them, but they are down here in AA. They're playing some more even competition now. Jamestown really is looking at a nice situation. As I keep saying, it's a clean slate, a clean break. They've got the whole season in front of them against some more level competition. Jamestown could really have a breakout year this year, especially returning 17 starters. Yes, you heard that number correct.
And that's just the impressive thing. They're in a new conference, a new place to start, and with those 17 starters, they're expecting some new senior and junior leadership to be able to lead them through and to be able to make a dent in this conference that has been dominated by Shanley and St. Mary's.
No question. All right, so it will be Jamestown to kick things off. They'll be kicking the ball to the Deacons. We'll see that Shanley offense to start things off. Shanley's offense is a little remade. Of course, they made the coaching change after Rod Oxendahl retired after last season. They've got Troy Mattern, a coach who likes to pass that ball a little bit more, now at the helm. I think a lot of Shanley fans are going to see a new offense this year that they might like a lot.
Well, you know, you never know. Well, I guess we'll just see what happens. Looks like the kickoff's just about to get started. Ooh.
It's Fuchs lined up to kick things off for the Blue Jays, and with that, we are underway as Fuchs hits a pooch right about to the 25. It's brought up by Manuel, who is wrapped up and brought down at his own 32, and so some nice starting field position for the Deacons.
And that could be big. These teams, they could be very level teams. Field position can factor to be very important later in the games and everything.
no question, like you said, Shanley and Jamestown, not sure how things will shake out. As I said, not too much to go off of coming into this season. Haven't played each other in a long time. If these two teams end up being pretty evenly matched, stuff like field position is going to be very key. All right, folks, getting our first look at this revamped Shanley offense. It's 2 men out to the right, 1 out to the left. Caden Kuhneman, the junior QB, under center. He throws that ball to the near side to Haley Buckles, who just about had the corner, but is wrapped up and brought down for a gain of about 4 yards there on the screen pass.
And there we have Shanley trying to attack that outside, getting away from the linebackers and everything. But the corner and the outside DBs just making a great play on the ball. Open field tackles are very tough.
Especially on a guy like Haley Buckles. Game-breaking speed, and folks, I mean that. It is game-breaking. You don't know when he's going to take a ball to the house. It could come at any time on either side of the ball. All right, 2nd and 6 now for the Deacons. I formation. Kuhneman fakes the handoff, rolling out to his left. He makes one man miss, fires. He's got a man open in the flat for the first down and more. Kuhneman finds his man past the 50, and how about that for a start for the Deacons?
Now that play action has been bread and butter for Shanley for many years, but what I'm more impressed by is Kuhneman. He missed the tackle and was just able to get that ball off. That is some calmness that I'm very impressed by.
Absolutely. Caden Kuhneman showing off some moves in the backfield, sidesteps the defender, not afraid if he was going to take that hit. Finds Manuel, the fullback, for a big gain of about 12 yards. It's now 1st and 10 at the 49. Here's the pitch out to Fredericks, the junior tailback caught in the backfield trying to turn it up, but he is wrapped up and brought down for a loss of 2 or 3. And look at the Blue Jays. They are ready to go. That's Tate Orr on the tackle, and boy, are the Blue Jays fired up after that one.
That was just an excellent show of defense by Jamestown. Again, showing that they're willing to commit men to the outside to make sure that Shanley doesn't get out there, contain that Shanley offense.
All right, so it is 2nd and 15 now for the Deacons, so a tough loss on that run after a pretty successful pass play before that. Kuhneman in shotgun, going to fake the handoff. It's an option out to Buckles. Haley Buckles has 3 men right in his face. He makes one miss, but he is not able to gain too much on that one, maybe 3 or 4 yards at most. So the Deacons are facing 3rd and long right now.
See, what I'm interested by is they're putting Jake Cava in the backfield, traditionally a tight end. But they're looking for something new to spark this offense and everything, and so we'll see if he's going to be getting more runs.
Ooh, absolutely, Cava typically the tight end catching passes for the Deacons. We have heard, though, that he'll be playing a little running back. So it is now 5 wide receivers out there. Kuhneman alone in the backfield. He's got some time, fires, finds a man. It's Hoffer. Hoffer wrapped up and brought down. He's just short, but hold on, folks. We got a flag back here behind the line of scrimmage. And I'd be a little worried about a hold if I were a Deacon fan right now, as all too often that's the case when you see a flag back there.
You know, yeah, that's just the problem. When you see that flag tossed in the middle of the field, you're often just, oh.
And look at that. The Deacons are going to actually benefit from that call there. It's going to be 1st down for Shanley off of that penalty.
You know, and those are the type of mistakes that can be very costly. You just stopped the Shanley offense. They were most likely going to punt it, or you had an opportunity to stop them on 4th down, and then you just gave them the 1st down. And, yeah.
Absolutely. So penalties like that are going to be key in a game like this, just like field position. Jamestown cannot give up any yards to Shanley. They can't afford to give any up through penalties because Shanley will take advantage. And now it's a handoff to Fredericks up the middle. That's good for a gain of about 2 yards. Jamestown standing strong up the gut.
You know, we haven't seen much success of the Shanley running game yet. It'll be interesting to see if Shanley keeps pushing with that throughout the game or if they have more success with it. Because if it keeps getting shut down like that, the passing game is going to get infinitely more harder.
Yeah, no question. And on a day like today, we've got some strong wind coming across the field. And in high school especially, wind can play a big factor in the passing game. So Kuhneman has 1 man to his left, 1 to his right. Fires to his right, but it's just over Jake Cava. That'll put him at 2 for 3 on the day. His previous 2 passes had been almost perfect. That one just a little too high for Jake Cava.
I think that's the first target for Cava today, and that is going to be instrumental. Jamestown knows he's a big part of the Shanley team, but even still, you just need to get him his touches, make sure that he can make plays on the ball, and make sure that the Shanley offense is rolling.
All right, 9:03 on the clock. It's 2nd and 9 for the Deacons at the Jamestown 37. 2 men out to the left and I formation for the Deacons, and now we got a whistle and a timeout. So,
you know,
go ahead.
This is the first real chance I think we've seen of Troy Mattern taking his place as head coach and taking command of the field. This is an important third down. They're in Jamestown's side of the field, and you know it's a long third down. They want to convert this. They want to have the momentum throughout the game. Mattern is taking his team, and he's going to help guide them through all of this and everything.
No question. Troy Mattern trying to kind of assume that role here. It's kind of the first big play of the game. Well, you know, we did have that 3rd and long earlier that was converted by the penalty, but barring a penalty, this is a big third down opportunity for Shanley. We'll see if they can convert it. Now it's 3rd and 9. Said 2nd and 9 earlier. My apologies. It is 3rd down and 9 yards to go on that 7. So fresh off the timeout, Shanley comes out, hopefully with the right play call. Clearly Mattern didn't like what he had there up against the Jamestown D. So we'll see what happens after Shanley spends that timeout on an important down early on in this one. Kuhneman in shotgun, takes the snap, looking to his right, no one there, fires to his left, he has a man open in the flat, it's Fredericks, but oh, what a tackle at the legs. A fantastic takedown from the corner, Jeremy Williams. Cole Fredericks not gaining an inch after that catch. Williams right there to shut him down.
And that's just good defense by Jamestown. But what I'm looking at, I want to see if Shanley sends the punt team onto the field, which it looks like they might be doing. We don't know at this point. But that might have just been a play just to get them a little bit closer to that first down so they have a better chance of making it on 4th down.
Right, we'll see what it is. It looks like they will go for it. And so it's a doubles formation for the Deacons. Kuhneman in shotgun, 4th and 5 in no man's land here. A punt would be not the best call, but going for it is risky as well. But here's McKeever making the reception after a bullet from Kuhneman to pick up the first down. 8:16 on the clock as the Deacons move the chains. Look at this replay. Kuhneman's got time, finds his man, and just delivers right on the money.
And you know, Shanley, they have new seniors this year. Seniors who haven't played football recently are just completely new additions. McKeever is one of those additions, and he just made a huge impact on the field.
Absolutely, and you know, McKeever's hands were a bit of a concern in the scrimmage, had a couple of drops, but Jake McKeever looking like he's got glue on his gloves right now. Just a great reception over the middle of the field, and now a quick run up the right side, not going too far for the Deacons. On the carry was Cade Busick, and that'll be good for a gain of 1 or 2.
You know, and you need those runs, especially right now when it gets harder to pass in the red zone and everything. It's a little bit more crowded, a little bit more difficult to pass. You need to be able to have that run game and force the defense inside.
So Busick ends up picking up 4 there. I'm a bit off in my depth perception tonight. Give us time, folks. We're getting back into the game. So 2nd and 6, a better situation for the Deacons. It's I formation. Kuhneman looks to his left. That pass is tipped, but still caught. Great play on the ball there from Haley Buckles, I believe, making that catch. Yes, it was. Kuhneman's pass was tipped, but it ended up being a nice bounce for Shanley. It didn't go too far out.
Those passes are hard to catch. Haley Buckles showing great concentration and great skill to be able to wrap that in. And for the Shanley wide receivers, they've had good hands this game so far. Drops have not been an issue.
Absolutely. I believe that was Connor Fuchs who got his hand on the ball, which would not be surprising considering his listed height is 6'6". Kuhneman got to watch out for the tip passes with him in there. And ooh, Kuhneman with the QB run up the center gets taken down at the legs. I believe he'll be 1 or 2 yards short. So now 4th and 2 for the Deacons. Looks like they won't send in the field goal unit, maybe a little too far out, especially in this wind. So now Shanley going to see what they can do. 4th and 1 deep in Jamestown territory.
See if Shanley can pull off the number 2 4th down conversion.
It would be big, 2 4th down conversions on one drive. That'd be a backbreaker. Couple men in motion. Kuhneman adjusting his offense. 2 men out to the left, and now I formation is the look. Caden Kuhneman steps up, play clock winding down, takes the snap, it's a handoff to the fullback, Cava, who stood up. They're saying the second effort got it. Let's see what the call is. Kuhneman really wants that spot. Heck of a second effort from Jake Cava. Was it enough, though? And Jamestown thinks they stopped him, and yes, they did. What a stand from the Blue Jays, and Troy Mattern not happy with that spot.
Mm-hmm. And that's what happens sometimes. You know, they already took a gamble once on 4th down, and now they took another gamble, and they didn't get it this time.
Let's see on the replay. So Cava gets stood up initially. The second effort does get him a little closer. You know, Josh, I think that's a good spot. It was close. Kind of a judgment call. I can see a case either way. This time it just goes the way of the Blue Jays. First play on offense for the Jays is a handoff up the middle that is stuffed. Deacon defense looking stout there.
You just had Shanley blowing up the play and everything, and that's what you're going to need all game. Just stop that run.
As we said, Jamestown has two very capable running backs in seniors Jared Haar and Zach Petrick. The pass game will be a wild card for them, though, as quarterback Tommy Falk, the sophomore, is making his first start here. Has not seen much action, played in their scrimmage, but that's about it. And now full house is the look for the Blue Jays. It's a nice bit of misdirection, but it's not going too far. Maybe a gain of 2 there.
That counteraction as a defense can be very hard to read. Jamestown looking like they were pulling that off very smoothly and everything. And once you continuously get that counteraction and misdirection going, later in the game it gets much harder to read, and those bigger plays start coming.
The Shanley defensive line is short a man in Caleb Chrisman. He was injured in their scrimmage and will be out for the first few weeks. He had been penciled in to start at D-end. He hadn't started a game, though, yet. He was one of those seniors Josh mentioned who hadn't played in a while. So Shanley, it's a tough loss for them, but they do have some good depth there. We'll see how much that affects them. The run for Jamestown is close. I'm not sure if they got it. I think they might have, it looks like. And they will give the Blue Jays the spot. A nice run there for the Jays. Once again, a second effort. It didn't quite get there for Jake Cava earlier, but the second effort for the Blue Jays gets it this time. A nice just head down and go for it run there. They were able to gut out the first down.
And that is a tone starter for the start of the game. First 3 plays for the Jamestown offense, 3 runs up the middle. That is how you do it. You get the first down, and then you continue on. That sets up play action later in the game, and here we go.
Looking a lot like the offenses of Shanley's past there, just running that ball up the middle. Another run, this time up the left side. And the Deacons are able to wrap him up for a gain of about 2 yards on the carry. That time is Connor Fuchs, I believe.
You know, you see Shanley players swarming that hole, but even still, Jamestown leading up with 1 or 2 blockers, and when that happens, you just get a hole that's blown open, and pulling off that 3-yard gain, well, that works for them. That's what they're trying to do.
Other thing for Jamestown, these running backs no doubt know what it means to fall forward, because every time they get tackled, that ball ends up way in front of them. They know where to go. And here's a great bit of misdirection. The run up the gut, this time from Kallenbach, is just short of the first down. That'll set them up for 3rd and 2.
See, this is making me wonder, when are we going to get that first play action call? Maybe going deep. A 3rd and 2, you know, this might be an opportunity to take a shot. Most likely not, probably just get the first down, but
we'll see what they do. It is another handoff, and it looks like a first down. And boy, this Jamestown run game is something else. These just short gains of 3 to 4 yards, they're just chipping away at the Shanley defense.
It looks like we have a substitution for the Shanley defense on the defensive line. Looking like maybe trying to stop that run a little bit more.
Trying out a couple of different players, sure, trying to see who works best against these Blue Jays who are really moving the ball well. Another handoff up the left side, and a great run. Here's the thing about Jamestown. Their running backs seem to be met with contact almost immediately, but they're so good at shaking off that first tackler, so good at it. That time it's Zach Petrick, the senior, getting it done.
Jake Kostecki subbing back in, but then also these drives, these tire out the defense, the running, the continuous pounding. It makes you hurt. Ooh.
And, movement there. Shanley jumps, and a couple of Deacons jump. Tommy Falk, just a sophomore, but that must have been one heck of a hard count because a lot of Deacons jumped.
That might be a case where Jamestown has literally been running the same count over and over, and they were just waiting for that.
And it's like you said, Josh, you run that same play so often. I'm waiting for that play action pass because Jamestown has run it on every play so far, and you know the Deacons are just inching closer to that line every play and leaving a bit more space in the passing game as well.
That was a fantastic play there by number 73 for Shanley, Joe Cava. Jake Cava's little brother, actually.
Yeah,
Football must run in the genes.
No question it does, because you're right, Josh. That was a great tackle on Brandon Dahlman. Joe Cava, immediate penetration, wraps him up from behind. Unfortunately, they were right up against the first down line thanks to the penalties, so the Blue Jays do get the new set of downs, but still a nice tackle from Cava, even though it was just short. Full house formation again for the Blue Jays, trying that misdirection yet again. It's a handoff to Har, who goes for 2 or 3 yards, and this clock is running down fast. Only 2:10 left in the first quarter. That's what happens when you run that ball every down.
What is this, the 9th, 10th continuous run?
Something like that, yes.
Very impressive by Jamestown. I'm even starting to question whether they're going to throw the ball. As long as they're running this well, they don't even need to throw the ball. They got this.
I totally agree, Josh. I think they're just going to keep running this up the gut until it stops working. And now some misdirection. Falk almost had the corner, but he's wrapped up and brought down for a loss of about 1. Take a look at the replay, though. Falk had them fooled. If he could have gotten to that corner a bit sooner, he would have been gone. But Miles Wasik and Jake Cava combined to take him down, and now it is 3rd and long. You have to imagine we're going to see the Jamestown passing game here.
Those are both seniors. Both have been in football for a long time, and that's just called situational awareness. That's what you get when you've played football for that long.
All right, so a different look here for the Blue Jays. Falk drops back to pass, pressure in his face, has a man. He's going nowhere, though. That is going to make it 4th and 10. Zach Petrick wrapped up immediately, and what had been a very successful drive for the Blue Jays is going to likely end in a punt here.
That was a very impressive defensive stop by Shanley there. 3 plays in a row with almost less than a yard gained. Very, very impressive.
And, you know, it was 3rd and 10 there. You were expecting a pass. You'll see Jamestown just goes with the screen. They don't even try the shot downfield. So you have to wonder when we're really going to see that true passing game, as here's a line drive punt caught by Erie at his own 10. What a punt there from Kallenbach. And Erie is wrapped up inside the 10. What special teams play from Jamestown. Tom Erie, you got to imagine, is maybe regretting grabbing that ball. It looked like it could have been headed for the touchback had he not gone for it.
You never know with balls that are traveling that fast, those line drive punts and everything. But I'm more impressed by Jamestown. They are running the ball well. Of course, they had that stop there, and they had to punt it. But the special teams is good, the running game looks good, and the defense looked pretty solid so far. That'll factor in big later in the game.
Absolutely. If the Jamestown D can maybe step up just a little bit here, they were loose a bit to begin things, but if they can stiffen up a bit, this Jamestown team is looking very dangerous as Kuhneman throws to the flat right to Buckles, who's met immediately and brought down for a gain of maybe 1 or nothing. And wow, Jamestown just swarms to Haley Buckles like that right on top of him, and you got to do that. You can't give Buckles space.
For sure. That's the second time that Shanley's tried that quick pass to the outside, let Haley make some room, do some work, get a couple yards. But they're just relentless in their pursuit to the ball and what you need, just those effort plays.
All right, and the horn will sound after 1 quarter. It is 0-0. The Deacons will be facing 2nd and 9 on their own 9-yard line from the opposite end of the field here. So after one very fast quarter of play, Josh, what are your thoughts so far on the game here?
Well, what I'm more concerned about right now is how players on both teams are holding up. This is the first game of the season. Everybody's breathing a little bit harder. You wonder how your conditioning's holding up. You know, during the first quarter, it's when you're truly tested. This next quarter and everything, we're going to see which team is going to come out harder, punch the people in the mouth, and then see what happens.
Absolutely. We'll see who conditioned the hardest this offseason. Before we get back to the action, though, we would like to take a minute to remind you that Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathletic.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button or become a member if you're not one already. It's easy to become a member and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. So, getting back to the action now, as we said, the Deacons 2nd and 9 from their own 9-yard line after some tremendous special teams work by the Blue Jays. We'll see what the Deacons have up their sleeves. We've already seen that passing game come out and be very effective. We'll see what they do so deep in their own territory. They might be a little leery of throwing the ball here.
But from what I've seen, Kuhneman, their QB, has been fine under pressure, so they might trust him to toss it deep here.
Absolutely. Caden Kuhneman, the junior, has looked very mature. Deacons come out in I formation. Kuhneman with the pump fake, has time, steps up. Here's a man. It's Buckles. Buckles makes the grab, and here he goes down at the 35-yard line. What a shot from Kuhneman, and what a grab by Buckles.
And that is exactly what you need, Jed. You have Haley making a play, Kuhneman making the toss, and then Haley just with that snag up in the air, perfect grab. Jamestown, good job with the pursuit, making the tackle, not allowing it to be a touchdown, but that is what Shanley needed.
And oh man, did Haley Buckles have his man beat there. He was a good 5 yards ahead. I believe that was Dahlman on the coverage, just a tough break there. Let Haley get by him. Was a good job, though, catching him because, like we said, when Buckles gets going in the open, he's tough to catch. Here goes Cava. The right side didn't look good, but how about the left at the 20, the 15, the 10, down inside the 10-yard line, Jake Cava. My goodness.
And just watch the vision on this play, Jed. Originally, it's designed to go right, but then they all crash to the right. Nobody's on the left. Cava is able to break a tackle, go up, cut to the inside, gain those extra yards. Very impressive.
So let's just take a minute here. The Shanley Deacons just went from their own 9-yard line to the Blue Jay 9-yard line in about 2 plays. That is called offense, folks. Wow. Kuhneman fires in the flat. Oh, it's tipped off the fingers of Wasik. Wasik almost turned it into something, but is knocked out of bounds at about the 4-yard line. So still a gain, although, well, they say that was a forward pass.
No, it looks like they're calling it a backwards pass, so Wasik with the smart awareness and was just able to pick it up and go. And that's the danger with those screen passes. They can sometimes lead to those backward passes, create turnovers.
So 2nd and goal now at the Blue Jay 4. We'll see if the Jays can step up here and stuff the Deacons if they try it up the middle. You have to imagine they will with Cava in the backfield. Cava coming up the gut. Oh, he is taken down fast on the tackle. Jared Haar led the way, got to Cava's ankles immediately, and now make it 3rd and goal now.
You know, it's looking like there's about 2 yards to go, and you got to wonder, what's in Mattern's playbook right now? Does he go for the run and then run it again, just try to stuff it in twice, or does he do for another quick pass outside? You got to wonder what he's thinking right now.
It's a tough situation. We'll see what he goes with. It's I formation once again for the Deacons. Cava in the backfield. He had that one tremendous run to get him here, but look, it's play action. Kuhneman just about brought down and almost intercepted. You can see the frustration on Brandon Dahlman's face. What redemption that would have been if he could have reeled that in, but still a great job breaking it up. Brandon Dahlman really showing his importance there, doing a good job of, obviously would have liked the pick, but still good to make a play after giving up that big pass to Haley Buckles.
And what was really important on that is that Kuhneman got pressured. Not willing to take the sack, he chucks it up to the end zone, and that gets dangerous at times. It gets very dangerous.
Glad to see he stayed in there to try to make the play, but sometimes as a coach, you just hope he doesn't try anything too big. And now we've got a whistle, and it's a timeout taken by Jamestown. They want to reassess their defense here, so it looks as of now like the Deacons will go for it. 4th and goal, as you said, Josh, about 2 or 3 yards to go. Josh, do you think this is the right call to go for it here in the 2nd quarter, about 2 yards away?
100%. You have momentum on your side right now. You had that long pass between Kuhneman and Haley, which is being shown right now. And then from that, you had a big run by Cava. With both of those, you definitely have momentum, and you just got to be able to punch it in. And that's the thing. Jamestown has been showing grit on defense, but Shanley needs to show them who is in control of the field right now, and they need to be able to punch this in for a touchdown.
All right, well, we'll see what they do. 10:39 on the clock. Still looks like they're going to go for it. No signs of Max Bush, the kicker. Jamestown, if they can make a stand here, that would be absolutely huge for them. I mean, after letting the Deacons go all the way down the field in about 2 plays, if they could make a goal line stand here, no doubt that would swing momentum in their favor. We'll see what happens, though. Deacons come out in doubles formation, just one running back, and now the Deacons will call the timeout. So, boy, a lot of thought going into this play on both sides of the ball.
Oftentimes, that's just what the offensive coach does. Mattern probably just waiting, seeing what Jamestown is going to line up in, and then try to base the play a little bit more around whatever their defense is.
And Mattern adjusting his personnel as well here. So Shanley already burning 2 timeouts, still with 10:39 to go in the half. Something to note. Can't really blame them for using it here, as it's a pretty big down. But still, if you're the Deacons, you got to know you've got 1 timeout left.
But you got to appreciate that in a coach. Often in high school football, it's hard to run those 2-minute drills and timeouts. They often get wasted by the end of the game and everything. If you're willing to use them in for big plays, and if they pay off, then might as well.
Well said. So, Shanley comes out after having used their timeout following Jamestown's timeout. Both sides clearly putting a lot of thought into this. We'll see who comes out on top, though. 4th and goal, 10:39 to go in the second. Deacons looking to the sideline for some direction here. And it looks like they were missing a man. Coming onto the field now, Sean Peterson. A little bit of doubt. Oh, and here comes Wasik. Looks like they were 2 men short. Not a great sign post-timeout, but they could absolutely still turn it around. And now here comes Wasik, trying not to get the too many men call. A bit too much confusion off the timeout. We'll see what they can do, though. The handoff to Fredericks, who leaps in for the touchdown. And suddenly those personnel issues don't look too big as the Deacons go up 6-0. How about Fredericks just leaping forward, just about caught around the ankles, but he ends up getting the touchdown, and Fredericks gutting that one out, showing some great grit, just making the dive.
You know, I was very worried for a second there. When you have personnel changes like that after 2 timeouts and everything, you got to wonder what's happening. But then Fredericks just with the jump, the dive in, just able to make it.
So good sign for the Deacons. It's a rough hold there. It looked like Bush's kick was maybe tipped, but it makes it through. So the Deacons go up 7-0. A huge momentum swing in favor of Shanley.
And you know now, Jed, suddenly those timeouts don't look as bad being taken and everything. They were worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Got the points.
As you said, you got the points. You're up 7-0. So what will be interesting now is how Jamestown responds. It really hurts to have someone pinned behind their own 10-yard line and suddenly have that become a touchdown in just a couple of plays. It really hurts when they just about stood him up, too, just a couple of inches away from getting Fredericks by the ankles on that 4th down. But now none of that matters. You're down, and you got to get this game tied. So we'll see what they do on offense. Maybe we see the passing game come out.
You know, well, the running game was working for them, Jed. They might continue with that, might go with the passing game, but I would be surprised if their first play is a pass.
That's true. But then again, maybe the Deacons would be too. That's the thing about running the same play. You really get the other team thinking. You get them in their own heads. So it should be interesting. This Jamestown offense has been fun to watch for a lot of reasons.
And interesting, it looks like Shanley has 2 different kickers. It was Max Bush kicking the extra point, while it looks like it's Cody Malish doing the kickoff. No.
So we'll see what Malish has got. I have been told Malish packs a lot of punch behind his kicks. We'll see what he does. No matter who kicks for Shanley, though, they have to follow in the footsteps of Jake Reinholtz, who is now a kicker for the NDSU Bison, and that is no easy path to follow. He left quite the legacy. It is a shorter kick caught at the 20, but it's bobbled, and now look at this. Looked for a second like that was going to be broken. I believe it was Jaron Wharton who made that reception. He bobbled it, looked like he was maybe going to find a seam, and then was wrapped up, and so Jamestown will start at about the 26-yard line.
Being those second layer guys on kickoff, that's almost the most frightening for those people, because they don't normally have to catch the ball, but when they see it coming in, they know they have to take it and they have to make a play with it. Fortunately, he was able to recover and get a couple of yards for it and everything, which was good.
Absolutely. Wharton is a guard and a linebacker, so not typically having his hands on the ball. Hey, you know what? He didn't fumble it. He didn't turn it over. Got a couple of yards. Got to be happy with that result.
For sure.
All right, so Jamestown showing that same formation once again. It's a handoff up the gut, going nowhere. The Deacons are catching on to this Blue Jay offense fast.
You know, I think I'm seeing more penetration by the line itself, which is huge, especially with this misdirection. If you can have the defensive line be the ones taking away play fakes and everything, it just frees up the linebackers even more to be able to read the play and go where the ball is.
Absolutely, and we knew the battle of the trenches would be big. Jamestown with a very, very big offensive line. A lot of guys over 6 foot, a lot of guys over 200 pounds. Shanley with not a huge offensive line, but returning 3 starters. So it'll be interesting to see how that battle shapes up going forward. Right now, it's a bit of a wash. Both teams doing good things. It's a pass. Look at this. It's Falk who drops back to pass, has Williams just through the fingertips. How big would that have been if Williams could have gotten it for Jamestown? Although, you do have to give credit to Falk on his first real pass of the night. He had pressure in his face, and he was pretty good on the money there, just a little too far in front.
It was an impressive pass. Also, good coverage by Tom Erie and everything. Very impressive. A good stand by Shanley D. Obviously, they were waiting on that play action to happen.
All right, so they just tried their first pass. Well, other than the screen pass, their first real pass there. And now we'll see what they do here on 3rd and long. It's a run up the right side that'll go for about 1 or 2 yards. So not the answer Jamestown was looking for.
Well, they took their shot on 2nd down, and with a sophomore QB, the playbook might be very limited for passing plays, and they might be waiting to save some of them for later in the game in more important situations. Just trying to win the field position battle right now.
Very true. So 4th and 5 after that gain there. Jamestown will look to punt, and it's Erie deep to return. It's another low, not too long one from Kallenbach. He went sideways on it, and it ends up just being down at about the 37. So Shanley with some good field position.
You know, you often hope with those line drive punts that they're going to get some nice rolls, that they're going to roll 10, 15, even 20 yards. And that one just kind of died in its place, which happens sometimes, the risk of having those punts.
Absolutely. So 9:03 on the clock. The Deacons will go back to work on offense after a very successful last trip. Kuhneman, the junior QB, comes back out with the play call, and Caden Kuhneman has been looking really, really good so far. He's had a couple of dimes and has really been the catalyst for the Shanley offense.
Very much so. His pass was the one that opened up the run game for Cava.
It's a play-action pass once again, a screen to Manuel, and Manuel taken down immediately for the loss of 3 or 4. And so the screen not working well there for the Deacons.
That was Jared Har on the tackle there. Just being able to shed his blocker and then make that tackle, that's very impressive. One of the most difficult things to do is being able to shed the tackler and then making sure that you're on the ball and being able to make the tackle in open field.
Absolutely, all alone trying to make that tackle, and he does. And, you know, we mentioned Jared Har in our pregame players to watch. There's a reason why Har, the senior running back and linebacker, just so good on both sides of the ball. He's the type of guy you can count on to make those big plays. Kuhneman fires over the middle of the field. The ball pops out. It was loose for a second. Not a fumble, I'd say. It did not look like there was possession there. It was almost a pick the way it bounced. Jamestown looking opportunistic there. It's in the hands of Cam Seville, you see, and then worked free by the cornerback. I believe that was Williams who made the play, so hats off there to Jeremy Williams.
Yeah, all credit to him there. Cam had possession of that ball. Obviously not a fumble, but one half second more, and that's a catch. Very impressive job of swiping that out of his hands.
Absolutely. So it is 3rd and 12 here after 3 passes from the Deacons. It is a full spread formation out there, 5 receivers. Kuhneman dropping back to pass, fires a deep ball looking for Cava. He's got him, but it's through the hands of Jake Cava. So close. That one's got to hurt. Haskell there on the coverage, though, and Jaden Haskell does a pretty good job sticking with Cava. You'll see on the replay.
Good defensive technique, turning at the last second, trying to get the hand in the face of the offensive player, not letting him being able to see that ball. Cava just not being able to locate it and bring it in.
All right, so looks like the Deacons will punt this one away. It is Jake Cava who does their punting duties. Cava loads up on this one. It's a nice punt, caught though immediately just past the 30, and here's a run for the Jays. It's Har bringing it up to the 45. Jared Har making his presence known on special teams as well. So the Blue Jays got to be happy with that. I believe a 3 and out on the Deacons there.
Very impressive. Also, just to mention, there was some pressure by Jamestown in the backfield there on the punt. The guy was very close to being able to get a hand on it.
All right, so the Deacons, I suppose, happy to just get that punt off. Good return there for Jamestown. Great field position. They got 8 minutes to work with here. You know, for the offense they run, this is really a great situation. Just about over the midfield point with a ton of time to chew.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they might just be able to drain this clock and score a touchdown.
It really is not the most outlandish of ideas that they could bleed this down to a minute or two left. And look at this. The sack, I believe it's Busick? No, I think Rosberg who comes up with the sack there. The Deacons were all over Falk, and it's Brandon Rosberg who picks up the sack. So not the way you want to start it with the Blue Jays, and not the way I think anyone was expecting them to start there with the pass.
Very true. But obviously the Shanley defense was prepared, and they were able to get pressure on the QB very quick. Not what you want with a young QB. You want time and a clean pocket.
All right, I formation for the Jays. Man out to the left and to the right. It's a toss here to Har. Har up the left side, not a lot of space to work with. He'll turn it upfield for a yard or two, and that is it. So a long third down once again for the Blue Jays.
Very difficult play to run, especially when you have a couple blockers blocking onto one guy. You have the Shanley defense just flowing over, really no cutback lane, and then you just got to dive ahead and get whatever yards you can.
And he did do a good job of that, able to make it 3rd and 9. 6:55 on the clock. The unfortunate part here, if you turn the ball over for Jamestown, even if you have to punt it away, is you're leaving Shanley with a great amount of time on the clock to do whatever they want heading into halftime. So we'll see, though. The Blue Jays, though, they don't want to turn this ball over. And under center, it's Falk who drops back to pass. The pressure coming. Williams, he's looking for him, but no. That ball way ahead of Williams, who maybe wanted a call there.
No, I think that was good coverage by Tommy Erie there. He was trailing his hip pocket the whole time, was able to get around, look for the ball. Ball wasn't even close.
Absolutely.
I think if the ball was close, Tom would have been able to make a play on that.
Absolutely. It looks clean on the replay. And that ball overthrown, you got to imagine, because of that pressure in Falk's face. The buzz out of Shanley's camp this summer had been a lot of blitzes in the playbook, and I think we saw that right there. And now look at this, a bit of a change-up. Looks like they're going to be going for it. Kallenbach rolling out, and he goes for the punt. So an interesting play there for Jamestown as Erie looks to return this to about the 28-yard line. I'd say overall effective.
Very effective, much more effective than their previous punts. Getting that rugby style, often a punt style that more teams are turning to now and now to be able to get players down the field quicker and not allow for such a great return.
I really like that call there because, Kallenbach did have the look to throw if he felt it was open. And as we've said about Jared Kallenbach, he can play pretty much every position on that field. So don't think for a second he can't throw that ball just because he's not listed as a quarterback. So a lot of options available for Jamestown there. They go with the punt, and it works out. All right, I formation for the Deacons with 6:23 on the clock. Plenty of time to do something. Kuhneman with the pass in the flat to Buckles once again. A gain of 1 or 2, but I tell you what, that play just not working for the Deacons. We've seen it now for about the 3rd time.
Well, that's the greatest game they've had. And what you saw there wasn't somebody immediately on Buckles. And that's a sign and improvement for the Shanley offense. You got to wonder if they stick with it, will eventually lead to greater gains, but Jamestown might just tighten up and just say no more.
Very true. As of now, they seem to have that play sniffed out, but we'll see as the game goes on. 2nd and 7, Kuhneman pitches this one out to Busick. He looks to throw. He is a quarterback as well as a running back, but that one too far ahead for Haley Buckles. Busick just gets too much behind that one.
Both teams presenting a little bit of trickery. Cade Busick with the toss and everything. You saw that. It went to Haley, just went over his head. And what can you do? Those trick plays, they're hard to figure out. In real game situations, there's usually always 1 or 2 things that always go wrong with them.
Absolutely,
Just hard to run.
Buckles, though, did have his man beat, it appeared. So Haley Buckles has looked very good in getting separation in this game. And now it's a bit of misdirection to Buckles. Buckles getting involved on about every play here. He was the centerpiece of all 3. Unfortunately for the Deacons, they just didn't work out as Buckles gets maybe 1 yard there to bring up 4th down, and it looks like Shanley is going to punt.
And that's been the true calling card of Jamestown tonight, is that they've been stuffing the run on the inside, and then they've had players flying to the outside all night, not giving Shanley really any room to move except for those deep passes.
Yeah, save for 2 big plays, Jamestown's D has looked very strong so far. So Cava into punt. Again, Jamestown gets a little pressure, but it's a towering punt received by Hart about the 25. Har has some blockers, tries to move it on the near side, and gets out to about the 40. Jared Har has had some nice returns here. Nothing huge, but a couple of solid gains.
Those 10, 15-yard returns, they make all the difference when you're trying to run those 3, 4-yard run plays. Makes you have one less down to go and just puts you in a little bit better position to get that touchdown.
We mentioned that punt being a little close to getting blocked there. And no surprise, it's Connor Fuchs, the 6'6" tight end and linebacker. He had the tip pass earlier, and now he just had almost the block punt there. I tell you what, Jamestown really knows how to use that 6'6" frame to their advantage.
That's what you got to do. Just put situational players and what situations make them the best.
Absolutely, well said. That full house formation once again, but we got a flag, and it looks like movement on the Jamestown side of things. And that'll make it 1st and 15. And that is not the type of situation Jamestown thrives in. They've had some trouble getting the big yards. They're more of a grind-it-forward type of team. We'll see how they respond here. 1st down, facing a long way to go.
Again, those 5-yard penalties, they really hurt, especially coming on a new offensive possession and everything. That 5 yards just sets you back all the more, negates the return by the punt return man. It's just a struggle.
I formation for the Blue Jays here on 1st and 15. Falk with a little bit of time. He's rolling out. Now he's in trouble, wrapped up. And, oh, man, a big loss for the Blue Jays. And that is the risk you run with a young quarterback there. Falk had some time, but when that pressure got there, he just did not know what to do and got wrapped up. When he's had time to throw, he has looked pretty good. The problem is he has not had a ton of time to throw in this game so far.
Especially since Jamestown, they're going at more max protection looks, keeping running backs in the backfield, trying to give the QB time. That only allows for 2 or 3 wide receivers to run routes, and with the coverage that Shanley's shown, it's very hard for them to get open.
All right, so that'll bring up 2nd and 30 with 4:50 to go in the first half, and yes, you heard that correct. It is 2nd and 30, so a tough situation for Jamestown. They're just going to go back to the run, and hey, look at this, a little bit of space. Har still on his feet. Jared Har, the 1st down and more. What a response from Jamestown. My goodness.
And that is exactly what Jamestown needed. Amazing effort play by Brady Ort, number 54, a senior, a captain for Shanley, chasing him all the way down the field and get the leg tackle. Very impressive, but even more impressive run.
And that's a good point. I didn't catch Brady Ort, the big lineman, makes a great play to chase him down. But oh man, Jared Har, 2nd and 30, and he gets the 1st down.
And breaking 2 or 3 tackles with it, that is just it's a run. That's one of those runs you get in your head that I am going to get that 1st down, and that's exactly what he did.
Absolutely willing himself to the 1st down marker, and now it's 2nd and 8 after a short gain on another run. I formation once again for the Jays. It's a handoff to Har, and he'll go for about 2 or 3 yards, but that'll bring up 3rd down at about the 45-yard line.
Shanley defense again just swallowing the run play on the middle. That 30-yard run, that was the first time we've seen anything up the middle really going for Jamestown. But then Shanley right back to its old ways.
So 3rd and 7, we'll see what the Jays can do. Perhaps hoping for another big broken run. It's a similar look, that I formation. Falk drops back, and once again, nowhere to go. He is brought down, and an unfortunate end to that drive for the Jays. They got put in a tough situation early on. Jared Har absolutely wills himself and his team into a better position, and the sack, again, cost the Blue Jays. Right now, Josh, passing is just not looking like a viable option for Jamestown.
It is really not. And part of that fact is Jay Cava. He was the one who blitzed there on that play, was able to get the sack on the QB, just pushing himself through.
And we have seen a lot of those blitzes, and just about every time they are coming up the middle. And so once again, we're seeing a different look here. It's trips right on what we think will be a punt. Probably a couple options here. Kallenbach rolling out. Looks like he's going to take off with it. Might be regretting that decision as he is brought down. at about the 44-yard line. So Shanley with some good field position with 2:37 to go.
You know, initially it looked like he had some room to run there or pass, but then the Shanley defense, the people on the outside, forced him back to the inside, and then defense was able to get to it.
And you know, Josh, here is the problem with that play. You're right, there's definitely space there, but if you hesitate at all in making that decision, you just aren't going to have a chance, really, and you can't really make a good decision without hesitating, so it's a very tough play to run. And that time you see Kallenbach, even a great athlete like him, just can't quite find the seam. And now Shanley has a good look here at their own 43-yard line. Kuhneman takes it on the QB run up the near side. He's got a little bit of space and then is wrapped up and brought down for a gain of 4 or 5. Nice little gain to start things off.
Kuhneman, not exactly known as a runner, has had his jersey called twice now with the QB option. Very impressive. That time having more success than he did the previous.
For sure, Kuhneman definitely looks like he's added maybe another dimension to his game here a little bit. Usually known as a pocket passer, as you said, but showing the ability to move when asked to. I formation for the Deacons. They haven't had much success on offense as of late, other than that long touchdown drive. And then the pitch to Fredericks almost went through his arms, but he did a great job corralling it. And then he'll get the first down. Under 2 minutes to go here. And you know what? It looks like they'll spot him just a little bit short. So it looks like third down, that clock's going to keep running.
But 2 good run plays by Shanley, picking up solid yards, something that is yet to happen for this game.
So third down and 1. The Deacons going to try to move the chains here. We might see just a quick run up the gut. It's I formation, and Kuhneman just going to sneak it. Plenty of space to get through and get the first down. Great initial push from the O-line. Kuhneman gets as far as he needs to go, and that's exactly what you want on a play like that. Not looking for 10 or 15 yards, just trying to get that first down.
And, of course, the clock stops when the chains are moving to get the new first down. So always an advantage to the offense when playing.
For sure. One thing to remember, though, the Deacons still have that one timeout left, and that's it. Kuhneman in trouble. He makes a man miss, but he's wrapped up and brought down. And, ooh, if you're Troy Mattern, you're a little worried about the way Caden Kuhneman was holding that ball. He came running out of the backfield with one hand like he was going to throw.
Well, that's what happens when you get a QB a little bit of running success and everything, you know, Jed. He starts getting a little wild with it and everything, but, you know, what can you do?
Well, good news for the Deacons that time. Kuhneman able to two-hand it when he does get tackled and holds on. So now it's 2nd and 10, though, and under a minute to go. Like I said, one timeout left, and it looked like pressure initially for Jamestown, but 2 or 3 guys tripped, and Fredericks makes a man miss and is then brought down just shy of the first down marker. And will this be? Yes, I think Shanley is going to take their final timeout of the half with 34 seconds to go. So now with the ball at Jamestown's 37, I'd say, what do you do if you're Shanley? 34 seconds to work with, no timeouts. What are the next few play calls, Josh?
See, what I'm thinking is either play action or run, just to first get the first down. If you run it and then you don't get the first down, the clock will either drain or then you have an opportunity just to pop right back up for the 4th down and try to go for it. But then if you get the first down, you'll already have a second called play, like a second play called and everything.
Right.
And so then with that, you'll be able to get back right up on the line and then maybe looking at a pass to the outside.
All right, well, yeah, that's about what I would expect. I would also for sure not count out that play action. It's worked well for Shanley here. It wouldn't shock me at all if we see Kuhneman roll out and just try to find the tight end quick in the flat of the first. We'll see what they do here. 34 seconds to go, no timeouts, 3rd and 3. It's I formation for the Deacons. Buckles is out to the left, and I believe that's Wasik out on the right side. Kuhneman's under center. Kuhneman takes the snap, fakes the handoff. It is that play action. He's got Cava over the middle, but it's broken up beautifully. What a play. Just a fantastic job to get the hand on the ball. And we'll see if we can get a number there.
Kallenbach. That was Kallenbach.
It was. All right. Well, a great job by Kallenbach, the man who can do it all.
Just a very impressive job. You initially see that he tips the ball there, but to make sure Cava doesn't get it on the second effort, he drags him down. Just a very impressive textbook defensive play.
Kallenbach playing safety back there for the Jays. A huge play on Jake Cava. So now 4th and 3 with 28 seconds to go. We'll see what they do. 2 men to the left, 1 out to the right. 1 man in the backfield with Kuhneman. It's Cava. It's an option play over to Cava. He's got some space. He's going to get the first down and more down at the 30-yard line.
He's able to get out of bounds and everything, and looks like they're marking him at the 30. But with 22 seconds left, you have to wonder, first of all, what is their field goal range for their kicker, which we assume to be Max Bush? And then are they willing to take shots to the end zone?
This is Max Bush's first season kicking. We saw the Deacons go for it very close in a pretty close field goal range earlier that ended up not working out for them. So maybe this time they do try to kick from further away than they would have earlier. And now it looks like we got a timeout before that ball was snapped by Jamestown. Jamestown will now have 1 remaining as they look to get a better defensive play call here.
Smart play by Jamestown there, seeing the lineup that Shanley is presenting, able to rest their defense a little bit, calm them down, just tell them what the situation is, and just make them a little bit more situationally aware.
And folks, at this time we would like to do something we like to do occasionally. I'd like to give a shout out to Wyatt Lyer watching the game at home. Wyatt Lyer, the former color man who joined me up here a couple years ago. Man Josh Johnson is now following in the footsteps of. And a shout out to Mackenzie Iverson in Hillsboro, another person at home watching. Folks, if you're watching at home, tweet at us, text us if you got our number, get in contact with us. We'll try to give you a shout out because, of course, we appreciate you tuning in.
Very important to us. You guys are the reason why we are doing this. We want to be able to share the game with you.
Well said, Josh. So it is 5 wideouts here for the Deacons. An interesting look on 1st and 10. Kuhneman had some pressure, fires a long ball, and that is just through the hands of his receiver in the corner. It was a nice defensive play. We'll see who that was. I think that was maybe Cava again. Kuhneman took a hit when he fired that right into his throwing arm, and yes, I believe that's through the hands of Cava, and it's hard there to break it up.
You know, just a very impressive job. Jamestown holding up and everything, but Cava just struggling. That's the 2nd time this game that he's had a ball well within reach, and then he's not been able to catch it. Uncharacteristic of him.
And you know, Josh, part of it, this Jamestown defense has done an unreal job of covering Jake Cava. They have been on top of him on most of those plays. So he's been dropping, for the most part, contested balls, you know, to the degree where I don't even know if I'd call them drops, as he's able to get that first down there and stop the clock and move the chains. So the Deacons, we'll see if they spike it here or what the call is. Again, 5 wideouts, 12 seconds. Clock's going to start. Kuhneman under center, and he'll spike it real quick there.
Very smart play call by Kuhneman. Obviously, everybody ready just to spike that ball. Got up to the line as quickly as possible and just made it happen. So now with 9 seconds left, you're looking at most likely 1 play, possibly 2 if they're able to get a first down or get it to the outside and get out of bounds. Obviously, you would like to take a shot to the end zone right now just to have that chance to get it, but we'll see what happens.
All right, so maybe 1 more shot here before they bring out the field goal unit. We'll see what happens. Doubles formation. Kuhneman fires to the corner. He's got Seville, who makes the grab. Do they give it to him? Yes, they do. The backbreaker of a touchdown here with 4 seconds to go. And that one stings for Jamestown. They had solid coverage there, but the Deacons able to convert as Kuhneman hits Seville in the corner. Ooh, that was close.
It looked like he got his foot in jet, and that was, again, just a very impressive catch. Cam, one of those seniors who hadn't played football in a while and decided to join this year, making a gigantic impact at the end of this half.
So the Deacons will try to make it a 2-touchdown lead headed in to the second half. It's 13-0. Bush lines up, sends it, and it splits the uprights. So 14-0 with 4 seconds to go. And Josh, how huge is that touchdown?
That is gigantic. For 1, it keeps the momentum on Shanley's side and into half. And for 2, it puts the pressure on Jamestown, whose offense has been primarily run. When you're a run-first team, you want to be in the lead. When you're down by 14 points, it can seem like a huge challenge to be able to come back and to have a chance in this game.
So a 14-0 lead for the Deacons. We'll likely see just kind of a squib kick here up the middle as they try to just run the clock out here. Jamestown, for their part, will, see if they have an opening. Likely not. As you said earlier, those guys kind of in the middle of the kickoff receiving formation, usually not the best runners on the team.
No. And so I would assume with Jamestown right now, their coaches, they're just trying to figure out what they can do to try to energize their players right now and to get their heads back into this game and to make them feel as they're still playing.
And quick score updates from around the division. St. Mary's leads Grafton 21-0 with 5 minutes left in the half, and Turtle Mountain up 20-12 over Valley City at the end of the first quarter. Some updates from Double A play. We'll try to get some more to you later in the game. So it's Cody Malish on to kick it off. Again, 4 seconds on the clock. Like we said, probably a squib up the middle to try to run it out. We'll see what happens. Malish comes up to it, and yes, he'll just squib it. It will get to the better returners, though, for Jamestown. We'll see what happens. Up the far side, not much happening. That was Bredesen on the return, nowhere to go, and so the half ends with Shanley up 2 scores, 14-0. Josh, your impressions from that first half?
Honestly, Jamestown and Shanley, they're looking pretty even. But what I'm seeing is Shanley is making the plays when they need to make the plays. They've been able to pull off the 2 big plays, and then also they've scored the points. Like Jamestown, they've been driving. They've had opportunities. But Shanley has been the team that's been able to finish it out and punch it into the end zone.
No question, Shanley looking a bit more consistent right now, but only a 2-touchdown game. We've seen more than flashes from Jamestown on every side of the ball. It's shaping up to be a pretty good finish to this one, folks, so don't go anywhere. We got a whole second half of football coming your way after this break. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to North Dakota High School football action. I'm Jed Thomas alongside Josh Johnson as we're getting ready for the second half of action here between the Shanley Deacons and the Jamestown Blue Jays. But before we do that, we would like to remind you one more time that Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathletic.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button or become a member if you're not one already. It's easy to become a member and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. So, folks, we are back for the second half action here in this one. It's a 14-0 lead for the hometown Deacons right now. And, Josh, tell us, if you're Jamestown, what are you going to try to do here in the second half to get back in this game and tie things up?
First of all, you remain calm. You stick with the run. You stick with whatever game plan you had coming into this game. You treat it like a 0-0 game. You get points on the board, and then you go from there. See how much time is left on the clock. Defense has to play stout. Special teams has to be good. And offense has to be productive.
Absolutely, and you know, the problem I think we're seeing for Jamestown right now, they've had some really good stands on D. You know, they've forced a couple 3-and-outs on Shanley. The problem is when they get on offense, we know they have a very solid run game, but so far that's all they've got. Their passing game has been in a lot of trouble, in large part not because of the play of Tommy Falk. It's the protection that has really hurt them at a lot of points.
Very true, Jed. When protection fails, then it just becomes even more difficult for any QB to be able to pass the ball effectively.
Caden Kuhneman, though, he's had a pretty clean pocket most of the night.
Had to dodge a couple tackles.
Exactly. When we've seen him under pressure, he's looked pretty good. Caden Kuhneman has really had a great showing here. Not his first start ever, but really kind of the first full game he's been asked to play, and he's done a great job in it.
Again, yeah, he had experience last year, but now this is like his team. He's the QB now. He's the leader in the huddle. He's the one calling the shots and everything. It's truly impressive to watch it.
Absolutely. So we'll see what both these teams have got for us in the second half as Cody Malish lines up for the kickoff. And with that, we're underway as Malish sends this one all the way back. And that is tipped rolling into the end zone. And it looks like we'll get a touchback here. No return for the Blue Jays.
By high school rules, any ball that is rolling into the end zone or goes into the end zone is instantly a touchback. So it does not matter that it was tipped there. It's a touchback.
All right, thank you, Josh, for the clarification. So, start of the third quarter, the Blue Jay offense comes out once again. They've had a couple of drives, a couple of nice runs, but now we really get to see what they have for us. We'll see if they can get that passing game going or if they just ground and pound. It's a handoff that goes pretty much nowhere. The Deacons swallow them up right away. We talked about the Battle of the Trenches, how big it was going to be, who was going to come out on top there. I've got to say, you know, I don't think it's gone too far in one direction, but I do think Shanley, their defensive line really is in control when it comes against the Jamestown offensive line. They've really shown dominance.
Very much so. Both defensive lines today have had more success versus the offensive lines.
Absolutely. So another handoff this time, and it's straight up the middle.
You know, and those are those little plays. Again, that 30-yard run, nobody was expecting it. It was just that quick play up the middle, and sometimes those get broken, and sometimes it just ends up for a 2-yard gain.
Very, very true. If you are Jamestown, though, you can't bank on a 30-yard run every time you go up the middle, so they've got to try to open that playbook up a bit, or this is going to be a very long second half for them.
Let's see what formation they come out, suspecting maybe some play action or something here.
Something to try to pass without having to face that pressure. I think you might be right, and it's not even the play action. It's a straight pass, and Williams is overthrown. And so it's 3-and-out, absolutely not what you want if you're Jamestown.
Not at all, and the Shanley defense looks stout there. You know, they held the runs on both of them. The coverage was good there. The protection wasn't too bad for Jamestown on that last play, but then again, it was a 3-step drop. It's designed to be a very quick release. Pressure shouldn't be an issue.
Very true. And, you know, he had Williams open, but there was not a very strong chance Williams was getting to the first down marker. The Deacons really had him contained had he gotten that ball. And now we've got a flag down after a very nice punt. It takes a Jamestown roll all the way down to the 26-yard line. But we'll see what this flag is for. Jamestown got to be happy with the way that punt went, so for them, hopefully,
even if it was a flag on Shanley, you might just take it, or take the punt as it is.
Exactly, but it looks like a false start, and that is unfortunate for Jamestown because you couldn't ask for a better roll on that punt.
No, yeah, the illegal formation and the false start and all that combined and everything, it's just one of those things that you can't be having. And that's almost been a constant for Jamestown this game, is little 5-yard penalties that have just been pushing and driving them back. They haven't had too much success at the punt game today, and that was a good one. And, you know, now you afford to give up field position.
Absolutely. Jamestown has had a bit more penalty trouble than the Deacons have. It's a high snap. That's dangerous, and the punt will not come out clean because of it. It will take another nice roll, but nowhere near what they had last time. That's down to 47. And so you don't want to be a pessimist here, but that is not how you want things to go if you're Jamestown. That's just about as bad as it can get without turning the ball over. But you still have a lot of time on the clock. You've played a great game up until now. Josh, mentally, how do you not get yourself out of this if you're Jamestown? Because all too often we see teams go down at the end of a half and then fall apart.
Mentally, I like where they are now. They're on defense. It starts on defense. You play your assignment. You play your man. You play what you know. You don't worry about the clock. You don't worry about the points. You play each play.
A turnover would be huge if Jamestown could generate one here, but stops will work as well as they bottle up the Deacons going nowhere. I think that was Cav on the carry.
And that's exactly what you need to start doing if you're Jamestown. Build a little bit of that momentum back. Chip away at Shanley's starting to seem like impenetrable team.
So 2nd and 10 after a gain of none, 10:05 to go here in the third quarter. It's a 14-0 lead once again for Shanley. Deacons come out in I formation once again. They've been running a lot out of the I, although we have seen a couple empty backfield looks, something pretty new for the Deacons this season. And it's a pass quick to Manuel, who makes a man miss and then is brought down just shy of the first down marker. That pass to the flat ends up working out real well for the Deacons, good for a gain of about 8.
Very impressive job by the Shanley offense there. Just that's the first time that they've been successfully able to sneak that running back, or in this case the fullback, Manuel, into the flat and pick up some solid yards with that, making it into a much more manageable third down.
Emmanuel really a very versatile player coming out of that fullback position. He can catch, he can run it, he can block. We've seen him utilized a couple times already for the Deacons on offense. Jet sweep to Buckles, moving up the right side, has a little space, but he can't turn the corner. And a great stand for Jamestown. That is exactly what you want.
Very impressive, but you have to wonder, is Shanley going to go for it now? It's right in that range where you don't want to punt it, but then at the same time, if you give the ball up here, it's very good field position for Jamestown.
And, you know, for the success they've had on defense, it's really not as big of a risk to turn the ball over here as it would be in some other games. So it looks like they're going to go for it. Now, if Jamestown can stand them up, that is an even bigger confidence booster than that third down stand. We'll see what they got, though. Fredericks is out there. He is the very fast running back for the Deacons. It's a quick pass in the flat to Buckles. He's going to turn the corner, and then more. Look at this, Haley Buckles down at the 32, and they were oh so close to getting him. But Haley Buckles is finally able to turn one of those passes in the flat. He's able to turn that into something more than just a gain of 1 or 2, and that hurts for Jamestown.
That was a very impressive catch by Haley there, too. Those types of catches are very hard to pull off, especially when you're traveling sideways and then you have to reach up, jump, and catch it. It makes it for a very difficult time to be able to bring it down and still be running and able to get that first down.
All right, 2 men out to the left, and then 2 backs in the backfield with Caden Kuhneman. Kuhneman drops back, pump fake, looking downfield, has a man. It's Wasik. Wasik almost beats the coverage. It's broken up, and he cannot make the reception. Another fantastic play in coverage. And boy, Jamestown, they've given up some plays in the passing game, but they have also had some great plays as well, and that time it is Carter Mosier making the play.
You know, Shanley, they've had that deep attack possibility and everything, And that pass, like 3 or so others in the first half have all been very catchable by Shanley, but Jamestown playing good defense.
A lot of passes defensed for the Blue Jays. Man in motion, it's Buckles. We've seen them do a couple things with him so far, but he's just going to switch sides here. And now a timeout. And boy, the Deacons have had to use a lot of timeouts in situations where you maybe don't want to in this game. They've had to do it a couple times to adjust their own plays on offense. Perhaps some of those beginning of the season kinks you try to iron out.
Very much, Jed. You know, again, like you said, it's the first game. You know, the communication isn't always there. By the mid-season, they should have it worked out where the QB is just like, okay, I got this, coach. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm able to do this. Just let me know the play. Right now, it's more just trying to remember all the pieces, make sure you got them all, and, you know, occasionally you mess up, and the coach, Mattern, is being smart and just taking a timeout and fixing it.
Yeah, and you know, those beginning of the season problems become even harder when you've got a new coach like Mattern. But Mattern, a seasoned pro, 7 years at Fargo South, 2 state titles while he was there. He's been there, done this. He won a title in his first year as head coach of Fargo South. So this is really kind of a been there, done that type of thing for him. He knows how to take a team even in his first year and be very successful with them.
Very much so.
All right, so it is 2nd and 10 for the Deacons. Man in motion is Buckles. It's instead a run with Kuhneman up the center, and he gets battled up fast. Caden Kuhneman, as we mentioned, has done some good things running the ball, something we haven't seen out of him very much in the past. He really seems to have added that running dimension to his game, at least a lot more than what he had before.
Well, what you're seeing with Shanley, too, is you're seeing a lot of different personnel being able to run the ball. You've had Cava in the backfield, Manuel, Fredericks, Kuhneman taking those runs, Haley taking the runs, just trying to switch it up and everything and get those big runs.
And now 3rd and 10, the Deacons go 5 wide. They've done this a lot before, but a big-time sack on Kuhneman. Oh, man, if that doesn't get the blood pumping for Jamestown, I don't know what will. Jacob Schulte, the junior D-end, gets in the backfield and lights up Kuhneman. A huge sack for the Blue Jays.
And that was just a complete overpowering. He just took a small sidestep and just drove back the offensive lineman. And that is exactly what you need as a defense on that play. This basically forces Shanley to punt the ball on their own side of the field right now. Very unfortunate.
Schulte was a big contributor as a sophomore to last year's squad, so not a surprise that he's making plays this year as a junior. Another punt that's a little close to being tipped, and the Jays let this one roll into the end zone for the touchback. A smart play, a last-second decision, though. It looked like they might tip that ball.
A little dangerous as the punt return. You never know where that ball's going to bounce. If you're close to it, that thing hits the ground, it's a good chance that it's going to hit you.
It is
fortunate that it went back.
Absolutely. It is often said that punt returner is the scariest position on a football field, and I would wholeheartedly agree with that for a lot of reasons.
You know, you got the guys coming down, flying across the field. You don't know whether you're going to get hit or not as soon as you catch the ball, running full speed back at them. It's an interesting position, to say the least.
Right. You've got your eyes glued in the air the whole time, so you're not sure who's coming at you. So the touchback will put the ball at the 25 for the Blue Jays. It's I formation and the man in motion coming from the left side. Falk under center. He's just going to hand it off up the gut. Good for a gain of about 3 yards there.
You saw that the backer wasn't even attracted to the motion coming across by Jamestown. Very much centered in on that running play there. You know, from what I've seen, I think Shanley, they trust their DBs and their cornerbacks to take the Jamestown wide receivers on one-on-one. And they're just focusing now just to completely stop the run.
Yeah, and when you have that confidence in your defensive backs like that, it allows you to cover the run so much better. And as you said, I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Handoff again up the middle, and look at this, staying on his feet. Once again, it is Jared Haar, the man who broke the 30-yarder earlier, showing that just pure will and gutting out another nice run.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's been those yard after contact, like the yard after contact. That's what he's been excelling in. Like, he was like more stumbling than he was running to get those yards, but he grinded it out. Very impressive.
And that was good for the first down. So, fresh set of downs, 6:18 to go here in the third quarter. I formation yet again. Falk goes down, and that is not what you want It has been a rough night for Jamestown when they try to deviate from the usual run. That time, I think Falk may have just tripped over the leg of a lineman.
That or his own feet. Sometimes it's happened when you're just rolling out. You get caught up with your own foot, and it's just one of those mistakes that you just got to be able to put out of your mind and just be like, I'm going to get this next play.
So 2nd and 15, and hopefully that is the mentality they have. We've seen a lot of those Jamestown linemen with their hands on their hips. A big play here, though, could really get the energy back up. I tell you what, you feel a lot less winded when you're having success on the field.
For sure. But even still, you still see Hard just dragging people for extra yards, reminiscent of, for Shanley at least, of Matt Bird.
No question.
Just being able to drag people for those extra yards.
Matt Bird, quite literally a bulldozer on the football field, and Jared Haar has shown that he's got a little bit of that in him as well. Blue Jays love to stick with this formation. It's a man in motion, but this time it's Williams. Falk drops back to pass. He has some time, but now he's in trouble, and yet again, he is sacked. And that has been the story of the game for Jamestown. A little bit of success negated by the Shanley defensive line. It has been relentless.
And what you're seeing there is a delayed blitz by the backers. I think what they're being coached to do is just being like drop back, but then if they see it's a pass, they have the option to go. You've seen that with Fredericks, you've seen it with Cava. It's just been very impressive and relentless.
Absolutely. Fredericks that time is the one who gets the penetration from the linebacker position. Nice punt here, goes over the head of Erie, but it takes a Shanley bounce, and Erie picks it up, but oh, they blow the whistle.
I don't exactly know why they
I think they may have thought he signaled fair catch there. I'm not sure, though.
But even if it was a fair catch, as long as it hits the ground, he's able to field it after that. So
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what happened, but
Unfortunate for the Deacons. Again, we can't really say whether that was warranted or not because we don't really know ourselves. But for what it's worth, Erie did seem to have that corner, so Jamestown got to be happy with the whistle there.
oh, it's just, it's hard being a ref. Got to trust them and everything.
Very true, especially in high school. Don't have the luxury of instant replay. 4:19 to go in the third quarter as the Deacons get back on offense. Handoff up the middle is stuffed.
Oof. Jamestown coming out with a little bit more fire. Both offenses struggling, but defenses starting to get into it. Very strong presence.
And Josh, if Jamestown can get one thing, one interception, one touchdown, this is right back to an even game pretty much. They just need one spark. Unfortunately, things just haven't gone their way on offense, and that's been the difference maker. If they could get that passing game going just even a little bit, I think we would have a closer score than we do right now. Kuhneman drops back with plenty of time, has a man on the curl route, completed for a gain of about 7. That'll make it 3rd and 3.
That was just a very impressive play. What you have is Haley Buckles. He's just running a little curl out route there, and that play is all timing between him and Kuhneman for the first game of the season. That's very impressive to see that fluid of timing for the ball arriving right when Haley needs it.
So 3rd and 5, about I'd say. Deacons come out in I formation. A little bit of confusion in that formation. Would not shock me at all if we got play action here. It is a pass, but no play action. Wasik had it! Oh! And he might have been thinking more about the run after the catch than he was the catch itself, because he had a little bit of space there.
Again, that's just unfortunate. Always got to make sure you're looking the ball in first, eyes on the ball, and then upfield. But then again, it was open. Shanley has, again, had that presence in passing and has been able to do it effectively. But unfortunately, they got a punt now.
And, part of that, those routes over the middle of the field, those slant routes as a receiver, you're always thinking about the linebacker coming in to hit you. And so even if the space was clear, Wasik might have just been double-checking to make sure he wasn't going to get lit up. And so the ball will bounce down to about the 12-13 yard line, and that's where the Blue Jays will go to work after another strong stand on defense. Like we've said, if they can get the offense going here, if they can get that one score, even a field goal, just get on the board, and Jamestown is in a much better situation.
Exactly. And yeah, there's still enough time. Shanley knows that enough from the playoffs. You got to think that they're in their minds, they're not going to let up at all. They're going to keep going as hard as they can. They know what can happen.
All right, so Jamestown back out on offense now. I formation yet again. Falk going to drop back to pass. He has some time, and he has a man completed on the left side. Good for a gain of 4 or 5. And you know, it's not a huge gain, but it is a massive gain of confidence for Falk and this offense.
One of the first successful pass plays that we've seen this entire game from Jamestown, and it was a solid 8-yard gain. He had room, he had space, the pass was on point, very impressive. And folks, just to give you an update, at halftime, Turtle Mountain is up 40-12 against Valley City.
Wow, a great score there for Turtle Mountain, really coming out strong this year over a perennial power like Valley City. So it was 2nd and 3 on the scoreboard, and I'd say it's 2nd and 3 again, maybe 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2.
Not much there, but then again, with that nice first down pass, you can afford to have a 1-yard run, which puts them in a much nicer spot.
No, for sure. And as we said earlier, these Jamestown running backs know how to fall forward. We've seen it all game long. I mean, these guys are consistently getting 1 to 2 extra yards every run because they just go forward no matter what. And I think they got that there, yeah.
And now you see not just the running backs know how to fall forward, the QBs also know how to fall forward. Impressive job by the sophomore QB making that play.
Absolutely. You know, we've talked about the problems in the passing game, but it's very much worth noting Tommy Falk is just a sophomore making his first big start here, and that is a lot of pressure under these bright lights in the season opener as such a young kid. So you got to factor that into some of these passing woes.
And then again, Joe Cava, he's made his presence known in the run game a couple of times. That grabbing onto the runner and just dragging him down.
For sure, I think looking a lot more athletic than I would have expected. Joe Cava, you know, he's an interior lineman, just a bruiser who can really lay the hits. But boy, he's been cooking when he gets into open space. He's been running down some players. I've been really impressed. Full house formation for Jamestown. Some misdirection. Falk still has it, and that is not good for Jamestown because he got thrown down.
Joe Cava, 2 for 2 now with the run stop, and now making the play. Very impressive. Staying on his man, staying on his position, his assignment on the field, and able just to destroy Jamestown on that play.
And all of a sudden, things were looking really good for Jamestown. They got that passing game going a bit, and now it is 3rd and 17. We've seen a lot of long third downs in this game for them.
Yeah, that's just a really tough position to be in for anybody. You know, it forces you just to play out of almost anybody's playbook, and it's just not comfortable.
Right, it limits your options greatly, especially on a run-first team. I formation, Falk drops back to pass. It's a short drop. He's just going to run with it, and he's not making it very far. Wrapped up and brought down by Rosberg and Cava. That's Jake Cava there, combining with Brandon Rosberg to force a punt.
Again, on that play, the linebackers just blitzed instantly. It was 3rd and long. Mattern, he was going to be coming with the heat there, and he was coming hard.
Yeah, Mattern really showing his love of third down blitzes there. He just loves to come right down the throat, and yeah, the third down blitz has arguably been Shanley's deadliest weapon in this game, making it really hard for Jamestown to do anything on offense. And so that is one fast third quarter. The first quarter was a lot like that, went pretty quick. And now Jamestown suddenly left with just 12 minutes to make up 2 touchdowns, and they're going to have to get a stop here on Shanley. You know, Josh, if I'm the Blue Jays, the stop is not as big of a concern to me as it is when getting the actual points. The Jamestown defense is looking like it can hang with the best of them, but the offense not as much.
And again, just looking back to the first half, it was those big plays that made a difference in the game. Overall, it's been pretty solid, but Jamestown just hasn't been showing that big play ability, the ability to force a turnover or to have a long pass. You know, it's just been a constant struggle added onto by the penalties has just created a 14-point deficit for them.
So, Jamestown lines up to punt from the opposite end of the field, of course. As we begin the 4th quarter, you see the 4s on the hands of the Deacon players on the sideline.
long-standing tradition with the Shanley Deacons.
With many a football team, a great tradition of football. And boy, both teams have been pretty close to blocking a couple punts here. This time, Jamestown's able to get it off. Goes pretty far. Erie, though, able to just fair catch it there at the 45.
Good job just being able to stop that ball. You have good field position now. And now we just get to see what the Shanley offense is going to do. In this position, you know, it's the start of the fourth quarter. You don't want to start thinking about running the timeout yet. You just want to play your regular game right now and continue to try to score points.
And the Shanley run game, when it comes to running that clock out, really has not been that effective other than Jake Cava's big run in the second quarter. They've had some trouble running the ball against a pretty strong Jamestown D-line. Now, passing really has worked well for them. The unfortunate part, though, being the team with the lead, that stops the clock on incompletions. It's a QB run, a great misdirection. Kuhneman gets the first down and a yard or two extra.
Kuhneman, very, very impressive. Again, like we've been saying all game, this new dimension to his game.
And, you know, part of that is you listen to us talking. Obviously, Caden Kuhneman, known as more of that pocket passer. I think Jamestown thought the same thing. And now we see Caden Kuhneman a little hurt here. He did fall awkwardly when he got tackled. You did notice he was a little hesitant. Caden Kuhneman, though, his typical competitor mentality, you saw the first thing he checked was whether he got the first down, and then he worried about the injury. So hopefully Caden Kuhneman is fine. Here's the thing for Shanley. At the scrimmage a week ago, Shanley, what would have been their backup quarterback, I believe Cooper Mattern, the son of Troy Mattern, was injured with a fractured femur. That's obviously a tough injury that'll hang him up for a while. That really depleted the quarterback depth of Shanley, so we'll be interested to see who goes in place of Caden Kuhneman. And right now it looks like Cade Busick, who we've seen more at running back, although we did see him attempt one pass on a trick play.
Fortunately, it looks like Kuhneman's injury, he was able to walk off. Probably just the ankle hurting a little bit.
Absolutely. Maybe just roughed up a bit. It's been a while since they've taken some big live action hits. And look at Cade Busick barreling through on the QB run. So Shanley's shown they've got a couple quarterbacks capable of moving that ball with their legs.
And that has to be the most effective play that Shanley has had for running tonight, has been the QB run.
Absolutely. It's worked well. We saw it work for Kuhneman earlier, and now Busick. And Kuhneman limping around on the sideline, a real tough sight because, you know, he has had a great game, as we said, running and passing. Obviously, he's had a couple of bombs. So Kuhneman stretching things out over there, hopefully able to get back in this game. Trips left flanker right for the Deacons. The handoff goes Cava. He gets a little space, and I think he'll fall forward for the first down. So the Shanley offense starting to move here with 10:55 to go in the fourth quarter.
Getting a little option look. And with Cade Busick at QB, he's the type of guy when he's running, he wants to hurt the defense, you know? Like, he will lower his shoulder. The defense isn't tackling him. They're just stopping him. That's how he runs the ball. So a very imposing person to have at quarterback.
So first down for the Deacons, 10:50 and counting on the clock. Kuhneman looking ready to come in on the sideline there. They'll keep Busick in for now, and Busick has been effective, obviously, with that run. So now we'll see what they do. Doubles formation. Cava in the backfield. Busick just going to run once again, and he gets some nice yardage and is brought down just short of the first down. Folks, in another score update, it is Wahpeton 22, Central Cass 8 at halftime. Try to keep you posted on those scores.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we just keep seeing more of this. Cava, a bigger back and everything, he's able to get those short yardage situations, but Cade Busick being able to burst through that hole with the speed of his and get those bigger yards.
Yeah, what's working really well here, Busick running and then Cava there is the lead blocker. It's worked great. And, you know, Shanley, if they can continue to have this success, may be tempted to just let Kuhneman rest for a little while longer because obviously you don't want to get him any more hurt if he is hurt right now going forward into the season. Although after that play goes short for 1 or 2 yards, Kuhneman will check back in.
Very probably just roughed up his ankle a little bit. And, you know, had the trainer check it out, but he's a mentally tough guy. He's going back in. He's leading his team, finishing up the game.
Absolutely not the type of guy to take a seat easily. So, 9:30 on the clock. Busick did a stellar job filling in there as he's put him in good field position, 3rd and 4. We'll see what the Deacons can do now, try and pick up the first down. Should they fail to pick up the first, they do seem to be in that territory where they would go for it, but let's see if they even need to here. Kuhneman drops back to pass, pressure coming, just as let go, and it's picked! Oh, the interception by the D lineman! What a change in momentum here for the Blue Jays! Let's get a look at the replay. Kuhneman faced heavy pressure. I think that was maybe Schulte who got in his face, and then the interception pulled down by Fields, I believe.
First of all, Jamestown had that screen snuffed out from the beginning. But second of all, I have to worry about Kuhneman's mobility to be able to go backwards on that play, especially after his ankle was hurting. You just got to wonder. Very unfortunate for Shanley. Defense has to step up now.
But that is that turnover we were talking about, that change in momentum for Jamestown. Hopefully that can get things going. And look at this, a big run up the middle, still on his feet, crossed the 50-yard line. All of a sudden, Jamestown in the driver's seat. But hold on, Petrick looks a little roughed up there, and he is a big key to this team. So hopefully for Jamestown's sake, Petrick can come back in.
Even still, you got to care about your teammates, but at this point, he let you have that big run. He let you have some more momentum. Jamestown has got to carry on and keep pushing with this if they want to have a chance.
Absolutely. Keep that pace up. You've got the Deacons on their toes right now, but now you got to press the attack forward. Full house formation, misdirection, handoff to Haar. He's got space and then more. Haar still on his feet. Jamestown having their best offensive success of the game.
3 huge plays in a row. First, the turnover, the interception, a huge 15-yard run, and then another 15-yard run. This is just very, very impressive by Jamestown.
Absolutely. We said 1 turnover, 1 score, all it takes. That's exactly what Jamestown got. They're going pedal to the metal right now. Bit of confusion in the handoff. Man up the middle, not sure who it is, but it looks good for a gain of 4 or 5. And that misdirection is getting pretty good. I'm not sure who that ball even went to.
Just bouncing off blockers and everything. No Shanley people were in the backfield. He was able to bounce off his own blockers and then just head up another hole. Though he looks a little shaken up too.
Kallenbach that was, so hopefully he can come back in, especially because Kallenbach is that versatile back they use all over the field. Deacons jump a little bit, and that looks like an offsides, and the hits just keep on coming to Shanley. Jamestown looking really good right now. They've got the Deacons on their toes. You know, we saw this one time earlier. Jamestown got driving, and Shanley just started to get a little in their own heads. They jumped and got a 5-yard penalty earlier in the game. They do the same thing here. The difference from then and now is that Jamestown was unable to score. They've got to be able to score here to make this worth anything. Full house formation. It's another handoff up the middle. This time not as successful. The Deacons stuff it and get a little bit more energy back on their sideline.
But you're starting to see a little bit more up-tempo from Jamestown. As the momentum comes to their side, you see the linemen just running to the ball, ready for that next play. Because you know what? They want to be in on this play now. They want to make Shanley, feel threatened.
Exactly. Suddenly you don't feel so tired anymore. Another score update for you. Devils Lake, the other team that moved from AAA to AA, leads Watford City 19-6 after the end of the 3rd quarter. Pretty big game going on there. Watford City supposed to be a strong team in the West, and now it's going to be a delay of game call, I think, on Jamestown, but there was a timeout pretty clearly called. So I think the flag will be picked up here.
Yes, I would assume so.
So unfortunate for Jamestown that they have to burn the timeout, especially later in a game where they're trailing.
7:23 left now, so less than half of the 4th quarter. But
if, however, the Blue Jays can punch it in on this possession, we've seen them force Shanley 3 and out multiple times, make good stands. If they can get the score, get the ball back. I mean, right now, though, your first goal as Jamestown has just got to be to get that touchdown. And not even so much that, just get the first down. It's 2nd and 9 right now. You had all the momentum. They did have that one-yard run there. They got a little bottled up, but now they've taken the timeout, maybe calm their own nerves a bit. Sometimes you get a little too energetic. So we'll see what they've got after the timeout.
And from Shanley's own perspective, that timeout allowed their defense to just calm down a little bit.
Catch their breath, absolutely. It's that full house formation once again. Misdirection. Handoff goes to Har. He's got space up the right side. Still on his feet. Har brought down for the first down and more. The Jays just keep driving.
Har has just been extremely impressive this game, being able to pick up yards after contact, as you see, getting contacted almost at the line of scrimmage and then getting the first down. Ooh.
Jared Har has just been knocked around again and again, but he continues to keep those legs churning. The Deacons blow this play up before it even got started. My goodness, that was jumped in a second.
I would have to assume that's just a blown blocking assignment by the Jamestown offensive line. There should be no defender that quickly in the backfield. Like, that was just a free run at the handoff. Very fortunate for Jamestown that was not a turnover.
Right, I was a little worried about them putting the ball on the ground there. Started to look, because when you get to a quarterback as he's trying to hand the ball off, when you're in the backfield that fast, that is prime fumble territory. Luckily for Jamestown, they're able to hang on to it. It's a pitch now out to Har. He's looking to throw. No one there. And he tosses over to the quarterback, Falk. Falk up the left side. Wrapped up, though, and brought down at about the 5-yard line. What ingenuity from Har, though.
I don't know if that was designed or not watching this replay. I think he was looking for a wide receiver down the field, but then he had pressure coming.
And so he finds Falk. Falk just takes off and says, yeah, I'll take that ball.
That was interesting to say the least, but it got him some yards. Wow.
So 3rd and goal, they're about 6 yards away.
And if you have to think in this late in the game that you have 2 downs here and that you're going to have to go for the touchdown.
Right, this is not field goal territory. Full house formation, and there was a whistle there, and it appears to be a timeout taken by Jamestown. So they spend their 2nd timeout of the half here, and that is very costly. Obviously, you want to get the touchdown here, so you want to take your time. It's most important to get the score here, but you're leaving yourself with 1 timeout going forward. It is very important that they get a very quick score here, because they're going to give Shanley about 5 minutes if they can punch this in on the clock. I'd say this is do or die for Jamestown to really score here. If you can't get it in, there's probably not enough time.
Very much so. Well, then again, even if Shanley has 3 run plays, Jamestown just used 2 of their timeouts. Their ability to stop the clock is greatly lessened. It'll just be drained out. It'll be very tough.
So we'll see if the Jays can get it in here and try to save as much clock as possible. The crowd on their feet making some noise for the Shanley defense. Full house formation yet again. Handoff up the left side into the end zone. Touchdown! Patrick makes it a 1-score game.
Wow. Wow. Just wow. Jamestown, the turnover, able to get that. The huge runs, the consistent drive. They even had a little bit of setbacks, not so good runs, but able to punch it in there.
And you know, Josh, what did we say? 1 turnover. If they could just force one thing, defense had been their best side of the ball really all game. They were able to get that 1 turnover, turn it into points. Just tremendous. A tremendous 4th quarter here for the Jays.
This extra point here, very...
And...
What?
Yeah, a bit of confusion. Fuchs was just kind of looking into the distance there when that snap came.
Not exactly what you want from your kicker, but it looks like it's all okay.
Yeah, it looks like he was the only one who really knew what was going on, because the whistle was blown there. Everyone else thought it was going, but Fuchs stayed pretty calm.
That's good. That's good.
I guess calmness, a big trait you want in a kicker. So we'll see if Fuchs can convert here. The snap, the kick is up and good. It is a 7-point game off of that interception and a beautiful drive for the Blue Jays. All of a sudden, the game that appeared to be in Shanley's control is really anyone's at this point. It's now going to be up to the Blue Jays, though, to make a huge stand on defense.
And see, down on the field right now is Coach Wayne Sargent. He's getting ready for that return team. He's prepping them. He's telling them right now to set that tone, to make the momentum come back to Shanley and give the opportunity for the Shanley offense to keep going and just to drain this time out and to hopefully score more points.
Absolutely. There's a lot of guys on that return team who could very easily take one of these kicks to the house if they get the opportunity. So Jamestown, they got to make the stop on defense, but they also got to play some solid special teams here just to get that opportunity. The Jays visiting crowd is big, and they are on their feet right now, showing some support. because how could you not after that string of plays? So Fuchs, the man who just converted the PAT, lines up for this kickoff. Waiting for the whistle. That ball is set, and here comes Fuchs. Boots this one away, gonna fall at about the 15. Buckles has to jump up to catch it. He's got a seam, moving forward, still on his feet, and then brought down out of bounds at about the 36. Now, it's a good return, but field position here doesn't matter quite as much because right now, if you're Shanley, it's all about just getting the first down and running the clock out.
Very much so, but even still, good return by Haley Buckles, able to make up an extra 20 yards or so. Very impressive.
Absolutely, was able to shed a tackle, find a little seam there, like I said. And, you know, we've said it all game, Haley Buckles is a game breaker for the Deacons. Don't be surprised if he gets a couple carries maybe even on this possession. Look at the Blue Jays right now, though. I have not seen this kind of confidence from them all game. They are hopping. They're trying to get their crowd into it, and they do have good reason to be excited.
But for Shanley in the backfield, they got Cava, big bruiser in the back.
We'll see what he can do. Jake Cava moving forward, got some space. Brought down for a gain of about 7.
And that's the second time that Cava's shown that good vision, being able to make the cutback in the hole and to find where the defense isn't.
Cava also he's a real strong running back, but a very tall one at that. He's about 6'2", 220-ish, I'd say. And that is a tough load to bring down. He's got pretty good speed to go along with that. So the Jays have their hands full when Cava comes barreling up the middle. 2nd and 1 to go, 1 or 2. Fairly generous spot, but, you know, Cava did fall forward there. It was close, and he's doing what we've been complimenting the Jays on all game, falling forward, gain the extra yards, and talk about fighting for extra yards. The legs keep churning, and it's a first down and more.
You could practically see him just dragging a guy with his foot. But at the same time, even more importantly, he's giving the confidence back to Shanley. You see the clapping and the Shanley's huddle and everything. Defense for Jamestown, they're suddenly just standing around waiting for their call. They're not clapping anymore. They're not ready.
Exactly.
Cava's taking control.
Shanley and Jake Cava deflating some of that momentum for Jamestown. If they can get a stop here, they can bottle up Cava or whoever the tailback will be here. It'll be huge. I formation again for the Deacons. Have to imagine it'll be a run. They go to Cava once again. Cava gets some good yardage, not quite as much this time, down for a gain of 4.
But even still, a gain of 4 yards is impressive. It's what you need from this point.
Absolutely.
4:15.
Yeah, can't be mad about that.
So if you're thinking, do you keep running if you're Shanley here, or do you eventually let Kuhneman air it out?
You know, Josh, the way Shanley's running right now with 4 minutes to go in this game, I'd be reluctant to go with any sort of pass here. Not to mention Kuhneman is hurt right now. He's playing a little bit hurt. He had a great game before that injury, but right now I would just kind of let things ride with Cava. And Kuhneman gonna run it, and the ball's out. The Jays say they have it. What's the call going to be? They're sorting out the pile. This would be huge. It is Blue Jay football. And there it is. The Blue Jays have the ball. 2 turnovers in a row. You can't write this type of football. 3:39 on the clock. The fumble forced.
And that is just very unfortunate. Again, if you're Jamestown right now, you have the momentum, you have the go. You keep pushing like you did that last drive. But if you're Shanley and you're the defense, you take this one play at a time and you just defend this play. You don't worry about what's happening. You know what you guys have been doing all game, and then you keep doing that.
The Jays are up on their feet, and so are their fans. Thing to remember here, that passing game still very shaky, and at this stage in the game, the pass game is a huge part of your playbook. Nice little run there by Kallenbach, able to fight his way forward for a gain of 6 or 7.
With 2 broken tackles there, one again at the line of scrimmage. Jamestown more and more consistently relying on their running backs to be able to break that first initial tackle to get those yards.
And Kallenbach, not the biggest of guys. He's 5'11", 165, and, you know, not the type of guy you'd necessarily picture breaking through tackles like that, but he does it just as well as a lot of those stout 200-pound running backs you see. Full house formation, little over 3 minutes on the clock. It's a run to the near side, some space now for Petrick. The cutback down for the first down and a little bit more. The Jays down at the 42-yard line.
Again, first down, clock stops, a little under 3 minutes. Jamestown, like how this half started, you couldn't ask for a better situation right now. Like this is just great for Jamestown.
The first 3 quarters really in control for Shanley. The second and third especially were really Shanley's quarters, but the fourth belongs to Jamestown so far. They have played their best football here, no question. They are using a lot of time on the play clock. They're letting time wind down a bit more than I would think. And Falk drops back to, and he gets face masked by Cava. But hold on, we got 2 flags out, some whistles, a lot of confusion. Ooh.
We're going to have to see what happens because they might call that flag or a penalty after the play, therefore sending Jamestown 5 yards back if it was a false start.
And they're going to call the face mask. Now, could we have offsetting penalties?
Might.
It does not appear to be the case. A personal foul, face mask, and I believe that's 15 yards.
15 yards. We will see.
And that looks to be the case. Jake Cava, the senior captain, trying to argue his side, but he's not going to hear it. The Jays are on their feet. Their players are up and hopping. Hochhalter waving his arms in the air, trying to get the crowd into it. Suddenly, this ball is past the 30.
This is such a sudden change in this game.
I mean, 0 to 60 in less than a second for the Blue Jays. Unbelievable. And now it looks like we'll have a false start on the Blue Jays, and that is a tough break with all the momentum moving their way. So I suppose if you do the math, that ends up still being a gain of 10 off the penalties.
But even still, now you're in a 1st and 15 situation. With how they've been running the ball, might not be that much of a problem, but even still, that can be detrimental.
And, you know, twice now it looks like they're going to go for the pass, but I got to say, I'm a bit hesitant if I'm Jamestown to pass unless I really have to. And you'll see they come out in a new formation now. It's that classic I. We'll see what they have up their sleeves. It's just a handoff up the gut, wrapped up and brought down is Hargo, not going very far. 2:10 on the clock now, 2nd and 15, no gain.
Again, you see the single coverage out to the 2 wide receivers outside, and Shanley's just stacking the box, just controlling the run game for Jamestown when they're in that formation.
That false start really starting to weigh on your mind. As you said, Josh, you gain those 10 yards, but it's also 15 yards to your next first down. They got 3 more plays to try and get it. It's I formation once again. Handoff, no, it's a fake play action pass. He's got a man, but he sails it over his head.
It looks like he came just right about the same time as the ball touched his fingers. We'll see here on the replay. Rolling out.
Falk delivers a nice ball that's just a little too high. Kallenbach, to his credit, got some serious elevation there. Erie with solid coverage, and now it's 3rd and 15, a very tough spot for Jamestown.
Not the situation you want to be in. If you're the Jamestown coaches, I don't think I think you have to go for it. So you're not looking at a 15-yard play here. You're looking at maybe like a 7 or 8.
1:38 on the clock. Will we see the last time out of Jamestown here? And I think we will. So that is the last timeout taken by Jamestown. That's all they've got left. So a huge timeout taken. It is 3rd and 15. Josh, you know, the passing game is not going well. Interesting play call to pass on 2nd down. What are you doing here, 3rd and 15? Obviously, you're going to go for it if you don't pick it up. You just try to run it and hope the run game continues to be successful?
Well, 2 things run through my mind right now. First, you had the 30-yard run earlier in the game, just a run up the middle. So I know the coaches are considering it. They know they've had success off of it. But then, at the same time, you got to think of something, maybe like a screen pass. If you get your best athletes out there on the outside blocking, you get some space open for them, you might have a better chance for big play.
All right, well, it's a formation they don't usually run out of. 2 men out to the right, 1 out to the left. Falk drops back to pass, pressure coming immediately, steps up, fires, just about picked by Manuel. But it is 4th and 15 now.
and in a very tough spot for Jamestown. They
Falk.
had it going their way, and now they're just 4th and 15. Looks like they're going to be going for it.
Falk had a man, but that ball was knocked down by Austin Manuel over the middle of the field. If that ball could have found its way to his receiver, that very well could have been a first down or close to it. So Austin Manuel makes a huge play. All right, folks, 4th and 15. This play will decide the game. Jamestown, whether their hopes remain alive or not. Falk drops back to pass. Here comes the blitz. He steps up in trouble. Got to do something with it, and that is it. Falk brought down, and a big scare for Shanley likely will not come to fruition.
Shanley held it out. Very impressive defensive stand in the last. Jamestown, they hurt themselves with the penalty, but Shanley was able to capitalize it and drive the dagger into Jamestown's back.
I tell you what, if you're Shanley, you're feeling pretty good to escape that after 2 fourth-quarter turnovers, give up the touchdown, a 15-yard penalty. That not the way you want to end a game that they had really been in control of, but at the end of the day, looks like they should come away with the win here, and that's what matters.
Just taking the kneel, and we'll see if Jamestown takes a time out or just lets the clock run out.
Jamestown did burn their last time out.
Oh, did they?
Yes, on that possession. So looks like we'll just get 1 or 2 more kneels here, and that should do it. Boy, hats off and then some to the Jays coming in here on the road, facing a real tough situation, getting outplayed really in the second and the third quarter, and then just turning it on in the fourth, putting up one heck of a rally. In the end, it comes up short. The Shanley defense stands tall there, but you got to tip your hat to Jamestown, no question.
Jamestown showed great resiliency in this game, and that's something that you're able to build on as the season goes through and everything. Again, this is just the first game of the season. They would have hoped that they could have won it and everything, but at the same time, lots of positives, especially at the end of the game that you can hope to build off of and use in further weeks to greater improve your team.
For sure, talking about a young team, 1-8 last year, and you just gave one of the perennial top teams in the AA a real run for their money. So Jamestown, you want the win, but you can't feel too bad about today. Just overall great effort. And obviously Shanley going to come away with the W. What else can you say? A great effort from them. A lot to be said, on some level you say they gave up that lead, started to get into a bit of a trouble, but they showed a lot of resiliency, being able to hang on to things and walk away with the win as that buzzer sounds.
Again, a game impressive by both teams. You get first game kinks out there. You get the flags, you get the formation problems, get the multiple timeouts at unopportune situations. But in the end, both teams played a good game. It was very fun to watch.
That is for sure. Fun to watch is a good way to sum that up. So, Josh, going forward in the season, your thoughts for both these teams before we go here?
Well, Jamestown, they held it too with Shanley. A couple more breaks their way, and this would have been their game. I'm looking for them to be a contender in this conference. And again, with Shanley, I'm looking for them to improve just on the base things that they've already shown in this game. We all know that they have potential going off previous years and everything, but are they able to continue this and to keep growing throughout the season to be ready for the playoffs?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of question marks, but a lot of things to be happy about going forward for both teams. And of course, one big thing for Shanley, the Troy Mattern era starts off with a W. A great way to start off the season and end his tenure here with the Deacons. For tonight, though, and for our entire crew, and Josh Johnson, I'm Jed Thomas. Your final score from Fargo, Shanley Deacons 14, Jamestown Blue Jays 7. To watch the archived version of this entire game on our other broadcast, go to ShanleyTV.com. The proceeding has been a presentation of Shanley TV.